How do you explain the 24-hour sun in Antarctica?
Okay, so how can you prove that the 24-hour sun exists? Have you been there before?
There was a live stream of 7 flat earthers, with 7 live streams running the entirety of the time that went to Antarctica and demonstrated the 24-hour sun. Once
Well,
again,
how
there
do
were
you know
seven
it's...
different live streams running.
Yeah, you can just go on and shut the up, dude. Beware of those who claim certainty, for the wisest embrace doubt. Here's what Hansel's little sister forgot to tell you. Here's Mr. Duffy. He organized this whole thing. Let's see what he says about lying.
So please, I beg you, we have to stop claiming that the 10 Commandments prohibit lying. That's not true. The 10 Commandments prohibit bearing false witness against your neighbor. Okay. We finally get to my conclusion on the matter of lying and deception, and that is this. After carefully looking at both sides of the debate, and after taking a very deep dive into everything I could possibly find in Scripture regarding lying and deception, I have come to the conclusion that neither lying nor deception are inherently immoral.
Is that right? We'll just see about that, won't we? Proverbs 12:22 says lying lips are an abomination to the Lord. Or how about Exodus 20:16? You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Lying is an abomination, Mr. Duffy. Colossians 3:9 says, do not lie to one another. Revelations 21:8, all liars will have their part in the lake of fire. You see, Mr. Duffy, there's actually 7 things that God hates, and Proverbs 6:16 through 19 tells you plainly. So there you have it. The main organizer of the final experiment believes lying isn't a sin. It's very easy to see what's going on here. When truth has no moral anchor, theology becomes propaganda.
Was Artemis 2 in a Hollywood studio near you? Representative Tim Burchett seems to say so. Listen to this video. Now, guys, listen first. Before you watch this video, let me tell you a little bit about Tim Burchett. He's been all over the place talking about UAPs and about how aliens are everywhere, hybrids, and we're going to be freaked out when we see it. So he's become a character. There's no doubt about it. But I want you to see, do you think he's joking? Do you think he's serious? Or do you think he's just gone plain loony? I'm curious.
Anyway, it's late. Hey guys, it's Bertie. Everybody say hey. NASA. Hey man, you know they film all that stuff in a Hollywood studio. We really didn't go to the moon. Anyway, folks, I'm tired.
Operation Paperclip brought over 1,600 German scientists into the United States government after World War II, including individuals who had conducted human experimentation in concentration camps. The CIA and military were aware of their backgrounds and recruited them anyways. In your research, did you find direct documentation between Paperclip scientists and the development of MKUltra's experimental protocols, specifically the use of mescaline, hypnosis, and sensory deprivation, which were techniques also documented at Dachau?
Absolutely. Kurt Blome, who was the chief of biological weapons development for the Nazi government, came to work for the CIA. So did Walter Schreiber, who was the Surgeon General of the Nazi Army. I can just tell a brief story. When I was researching my book, I found what I think might be the first secret CIA prison or black site. It's a nice chalet in Germany. And the guy who now owns it took me into the basement. He said these were the cells where the MKUltra officers, working side by side with Nazis, carried out those gruesome experiments, which were actually just continuations of the experiments that those Nazis had been conducting just a few years earlier right down the road.
Just for timeline and clarification, these experiments were happening after the Nuremberg trials, correct? So the CIA would have known that these were crimes against humanity.
I looked for an episode in which the Nuremberg doctrines were posted on the wall in some MKUltra or CIA office, and I was never able to find any indication that those Nuremberg principles ever were even consulted, much less obeyed.
Thank you.
Do you want the truth, or do you want to keep paying for the bull? If you think this is what flat Earth looks like, you are living in a psyop. Telling the truth, knowing the truth, God wants you to know the truth. This is about Christ. Outer space isn't real.
Let the whole world know.
Calling me home where the old gods stand. Through the storm and the blood red sand. The sky falls down and the rivers run slow. Hear my name in the winter snow.
Steel in the hand when the long ships sail. Cold in the...
All right, look at this mascara. When I drop it, the textbook tells you it's gravity. Gravity pulled it down. But I asked a physicist how mass pulls mass without touching it. And they'll give you a math equation, not an answer. But the truth is, this mascara isn't being pulled, it's being steered. The Earth's surface is a constant negative charge. The upper atmosphere is positive. Between the ground and the sky, there's literally an electric field. It's about 150 volts for every meter you move up. We aren't living on a rock, we're living inside a giant capacitor. The mascara falls because it's seeking ground. It's seeking the electrical equilibrium. If you change the charge of an object enough, gravity stops working. We've seen this in the labs for decades. But it would ruin the space narrative, so it stays off the news. Think about space. They say we have a pressurized atmosphere sitting right next to an infinite vacuum. Ask an engineer, what happens if we have high pressure tire and you poke a hole in it? The air doesn't stay inside because of gravity. It explodes outward to fill the void. To have pressure, you must have a container. No container, no pressure. Which means we are in a closed system. Now connect the dots with me. In 1962, the height of the Cold War, the US government starts a project called Operation Dominic. In Latin words, that means of the Lord. And the specific series of high-altitude nukes they launched, they named it Operation Fishbowl. They weren't just testing weapons, they were tapping the glass. On July 9th, 1962, they launched a 1.4 megaton nuke called Starfish Prime. And when it went off 250 miles up, the explosion didn't look like a sphere. The plasma hit something. It flattened out and splashed like a ripple on a pond. They weren't fighting the Soviets, they were testing the structural integrity of the firmament. And this is why they stopped. This is why every major nation, countries that can't agree on a single border or trade deal, suddenly signed the Antarctic Treaty at the exact same time. Why is Antarctica the only place on Earth we aren't allowed to explore? Because that is the parameter. That's where the glass of the fishbowl meets the floor. They don't want you down there because if you keep going, you don't find more ice. You find the wall. You find the end of the container. They realized that the fishbowl was real and indestructible. They realized that they couldn't get you out. So what did they do? They built a fake exit. They turned the firmament into outer space and told you that you were a speck of dust in a vacuum. Instead of the truth, you are in a protected, pressurized, electrical masterpiece that the Lord has created for us. Call it gravity so you don't look for the power. They call it space so you don't look for the wall. They keep you away from the edge so you never realize that you are in a cage.
So I'm going to give just one of the reasons that I think the Earth is flat. I've got about 50, but this is just one. Taking a deep breath. This is a good one. If Hollywood was started by the CIA and the Universal Studios logo is a globe that spins, and I just want you to think about this. Hollywood started the CIA to program the masses. How do we get a hold of the collective consciousness and get them to believe what we want them to believe? They need a television so they can tell you the vision with channels so they can channel the information that they want you to hear and believe. That's why they're called programming, so they can just program your little fluoride crystallized pineal gland with all that mouthwash and bad stuff in your toothpaste, although you do need fluoride, but you also need to calcify this so you can think for yourself. But that's neither here nor there. I'm talking about flat Earth right now. If they want you to think the Earth is round, they put a globe in every classroom. They put a globe in every office. Spin it and put your finger where it lands, and that's where you're going because everything is spherical and it's round. Is it maybe just maybe that if you think there's a start and a stop and only what you see, what they want you to see is what exists, the reality that they put in front of you? Was it not William Shakespeare that said the world is a stage? You are but characters in a very orchestrated agenda. So, is it because if you could not see past anything that exists on that globe because that's all you believe exists, then maybe, just maybe, you would never question what is past the ice walls?
The earth is flat, and I'm here to prove to you how through religion, ancient culture, and some common sense. Well, all of creation starts with a story, so we might as well start with the story that all of us know, and that's the Bible. In the first chapter, on the 6th verse, it says, "And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." And then in Genesis chapter 1, verse 8, it says, "And God called the firmament heaven." So basically, God put a dome around us, which is the firmament, and separated us from the waters above and heaven. These waters above, as you guessed it, is what God used to cause the great flood, the celestial waters. And if you're wondering how the sun and moon work, well, then let me explain it to you. We don't rotate around them, but rather the sun and the moon run around us like a circuit. Here, let me explain. In Psalm 19, verse 5, it talks about the sun, in which it says, "Which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race." And what do you know about a race? It goes in a circle, like a circuit. Then in Psalm 19, verse 6, it says, "His going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it, and there is nothing hid from the heat thereof." So the sun and the moon move in a circuit-like fashion around the flat earth. This is where we get the idea of clocks from. Now, coming back to the notion of the earth being flat and having a firmament or a dome covering us is also seen in many different cultures. The Egyptians, with their gods representing the earth, the sky, and the air. In Norse mythology, where Ymir's skull is placed over the flat earth like a giant dome or a firmament. Same with the Mayan and Babylon cultures as well. All these cultures, all these civilizations, thousands of miles apart, thousands of years apart, all have the same idea, a flat earth with a dome holding back celestial waters, except for one, us, or NASA. It's crazy. NASA just shows up one day with CGI saying the world is a globe, and people just forget thousands of years of history and culture and believe something that just came out. NASA in Hebrew means to deceive. The entire space program is fake. Just look at the NASA logo. You can see the serpent tongue that goes right through it. And what are serpents known for throughout history and religion? Deception. Every photo of this globe or earth you've seen is either a rendering, a composite, or a wide-angle lens view. Look at pictures of Antarctica from a satellite point of view and try not to laugh. I don't know how brainwashed you have to be to think that's real. Speaking of Antarctica, there was Operation High Jump that happened in 1947, where they found fertile land as big as Kansas or New Mexico, with green life, surface coal, and drinkable water. It's also rumored that they found more fertile land past the ice wall, with green life and animals. However, the project got scrapped only 3 months later, and within a decade, the Antarctic Treaty was signed, making the continent heavily restricted. What's the point of hiding it? Unless they don't want people to know that's more than just a wall of ice. There's something beyond that. But that's just another theory. And lastly, there's Operation Fishbowl, where the government shot rockets and detonated nuclear bombs at a high altitude, trying to break the firmament. But to no one's surprise, they didn't accomplish anything. They were testing the limits of creation itself, but God's handiwork shows its strength. Bernard von Braun, one of the top dogs in NASA, had Psalm 19:1 engraved on his tombstone, in which it said, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows its handiwork." Damn, try saying his name 5 times pretty fast. It's like a tongue twister. Even Bill Nye, the science guy, said we ain't even making it out of Earth.
One thing I really want your generation to embrace is that the Earth is a closed system. We cannot leave the Earth. There's no place to go.
And I trust him more than I trust NASA. Well, you may be asking, what's the whole point of them making us believe the Earth is a sphere? Because to make us feel insignificant. If you believe that you're spinning on a globe flying through space that's existed for billions of years, then that makes your life feel insignificant, worthless, no purpose. And when you feel like this, there really isn't any point in believing in God. Since everything is so big, he just feels so distant, and that's what they're trying to achieve, to make you less spiritual, to make you unaware of the divinity inside you. But if you change your perspective and see that you're being protected under a veil, a firmament, then our existence has more meaning. We can see that God is around us all the time and that He's not far at all. So question everything that you know, because your beliefs right now are probably something that's forced upon you and not made out of your own free will.
Stop lying, stop acting. We all never went to space. We all never went to space.
Let me get this straight. NASA just dropped their big "we did it again" victory lap on Artemis 2. 4 astronauts, supposedly joyriding around the moon. Except 2 of those American crew members look like they were yanked straight out of central casting.
2 of the 4 American astronauts that are on that flight, they're right out of central casting.
Pinky swear they weren't filming on a soundstage the whole time. And get ready for the physics-defying finale. Their fancy capsule allegedly screamed through the atmosphere at a scorching 2,800 degrees Celsius for minutes on end. Yet somehow, just minutes later, these clowns are casually touching the hull and popping the hatch like it's a damn lunchbox. We got live TV green screen glitches, suspiciously perfect CGI Earth shots, and far side lighting that belongs in a Hollywood blockbuster, not outer space. Oh, and the radiation belts? NASA shrugs and says, "Don't worry, we fixed it this time." After 50 years, how insanely convenient. Same agency, same bag of tricks, just wrapped in a shiny new billion-dollar production. They fooled everyone with Apollo. Now they're dropping the sequel. Open your eyes, people. The moon landing studio never closed. They just upgraded the set. Wake up before Artemis 3 hits theaters near you.
The flat Earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was Al-Biruni and he lived between 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Eddie Alenkar. Known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo, I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my online store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.